All right, I want to go through Unit 7, Lesson 7, multiplying decimals with whole numbers. We'll talk about how that works with money, etc., and just how you figure that out. SAB page 277 to 280, and I hope we're going to breeze through this pretty fast, so pause me as you need to. 8 times 5, just some mental math warm-up, is that 40 because it's that even number multiplied by a 5. 40. 80 times 5, add that extra 0 on. 40 plus 1 extra 0. Again, just continue adding those zeros, okay? Versus the 9 times 5 where we get that odd number, so 45, right? And then continue that pattern on, just 1 0, because the odd number doesn't add that multiple of 10. Okay, so just some quick mental math to get you guys up and ready and going. Let's take a look at our first page here. The Rez children had a yard sale. They sold some toys. They made a table to show how many toys they sold and how much money they earned. Go ahead and look that table over. Notice that when it asks you how did they know the number of decimal places in each product, I would say because it's money, right? And with money, there are 2 decimal places. Are 2 digits behind the decimal. All right. How much money did they earn? What you're going to do is total this whole column here. So when you guys go to total that, make sure you're adding everything in. Keep your decimals lined up. If you need to pause this to add that real quick, please do so. And then come back and double check your answers, okay? All right. So they made $2.57. Got to write correctly. Let me scribble this out. $2.57. There we go. All right. We're going to go on. Mia saves the change from her lunch money. Each day she gets 34 cents in change, and she's been saving it for 26 days, so it's multiplying, right? 34 times 26. She's broken it apart into steps and taken that 6 and multiplied it by the 4, taken the 6 and multiplied it by 3. And this really is just the shortcut method, just a longer expanded version of it. All it asks is how many decimal places there are in the decimal factor. You could say 2, right? There are two places behind the decimal, 2 digits behind the decimal in that answer. And same within the answer. So 2, 2. All right, moving on. A bead factory spends 346 thousandths of a cent to make each crystal bead. The steps below show how Antonio finds the total amount of the factory spending on 222 crystal beads. So if you just look through how they multiply here, read through those steps. They multiplied the ones, multiplied the tens, and multiplied the hundreds. Okay, and then added it up. Again, this looks like to me the shortcut method, so just think that shortcut method, but we're just simply answering some questions here. How many places are there behind the factor? There are 3. There are 3 digits there. And how many are there in the answer? Again, 3. So what you should be noticing is that however many the number of decimal places in the product is equal to the number of decimal places in the factor. Right, they're just equal, basically. Sorry about that R being up there, guys. So let's move on and kind of think about this next one. An owner of a 7 Seas Spice Company wants to sell twice as much spice in the future as they do now. The table's showing how they figure that out. It's got the future right here, And then what happens when we double that? Kind of right here. Because we're doubling, we can use addition instead of multiplication, so we're going to fill in the table over here. So each place is just going to be the same, okay? And we're going to verify that that multiplication was the same by adding. So 4 hundredths plus 4 hundredths is 8 hundredths. 7 hundredths plus 7 hundredths is 14 hundredths. 6 tenths plus 6 tenths is 1 2 tenths. So again, just kind of going through those steps. When you look at the table and the number of decimal places, what pattern do you see? Hopefully you're seeing that, again, the number of decimal places in the product is the same as the number of decimal places in the factors. Okay, is it the same as what we saw before? Yes. Okay, let's move on. All right, big idea. You write the big idea. We'll talk about it in class. I expect to see this filled out. So make sure you've got that filled in so we can discuss it in class. And then we're going to take a look at these product multiplications. So if you need to pause the video so you can write the big idea, please do that. Or if you want to wait until the very end and go back and write that big idea, that's fine with me as well. I'm going to move on to 10, your choice. Pause now, state big idea, or move on with me. 8 times 6 is 46, but because there's one decimal, I know I need to have one digit behind the decimal place. 4 times 3 is 12. Because there's a 0 here in the 40, I need to add that 0 on, and because there's one decimal place behind the, or one digit behind the decimal place, I need to put one digit behind the decimal place. 9 times 5 is 45. When I count the number of digits behind the decimal place, there's actually 3. So I don't have 3 here to move it over, so I have to add that 0 placeholder, and it goes in front of that. Okay. 2 times 4 is 8. Right? 2 times 1 is 2. Okay. Bring my 0 down for my placeholder. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry my 1 up. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. Add those up. And then there are 2 digits behind the decimal up in the factors, so 2 digits behind the decimal in the product. Okay. Go ahead and pause the video and try the next one, and then come back and check your answer. Okay, welcome back. Hopefully you found it was 27 and 53, or sorry, 52. Not 3, 52 hundredths. Okay, let's go on down here to these story problems. I'm going to set up most of them, and then I might have you do some by pausing it. Jesse bought 3 aquariums. Each holds 8 75/100 gallons of water. How much do they hold all together? So we're going to take 8 75/100, multiply it by 3. I tend to ignore that decimal and then go back and bring it in. 3 times 5, 15. Carry my 1. Right. 3 times, I'm going to move on and do that. 3 times 7 plus 1. Okay. Just 21 plus 21 is 22. Carry my 2. 3 times 8, which is 24 plus 2, 26. And then 2 decimal places behind the, or 2 digits behind the decimal place. So 26 gallons and 25 hundredths. Label my units. All right. Jess wants to buy 24 angelfish. Each angelfish costs $2.35. Multiply out. Okay. Go ahead and pause and come back and then check your answer. Okay, welcome back. 5 times 4, 20. Carry my 2. 4 times 3, 12. Plus 2, 14. Carry my 1. 4 times 2, 8. Plus 1 is 9. Placeholder as I move on to the next digit. 2 times 5 is 10. Carry my 1. 2 times 3, 6, plus 1, 7. And 2 times 2, 4. Add them up. All right, 2 digits behind my decimal places up there. Two digits behind the decimal up there, so 2 digits in the answer. It would cost him $56.40. That's an awful lot to spend on fish, don't you suppose? I don't know. Seems like it to me anyway. All right, next one. There are 3 goldfish in one of Jesse's aquariums. Gus is the smallest. He only weighs 98 ounces. Ella weighs 3 times as much, so I'm going to multiply. Okay. What is Ella's weight? So 3 times 8 is 24. Put my 4 down. Carry my 2. 9 times 3 is 27. Plus 2, 29. Okay. 2 places behind the decimal, 2 places behind the decimal in my answer, okay? 2 and 94 hundredths ounces, OZ, abbreviation for ounces. Okay, last one, 7 times as much. Otto weighs 7 times as much as Gus. Pause the video, work it out, okay? And then come back and check your answer. Okay, welcome back. 8 times 7 is 56. 6, carry my 5. 9 times 7 is 63, plus 5 is 68. 2 decimal places behind the factors, 2 decimal places behind the product. So 6 and 86 hundredth ounces. Okay? All right. The last page is your challenge page. I want you to work these out on your own. I'm going to stop the video here. You can use the table to help you by looking at the patterns, but I want you to actually multiply out 19 through 23. Come prepared to check them with your shoulder partner, all right?